talk about the ArmBridge, and I'm gonna have Bob record it so you guys can listen to it again and again. Thanks, Bob. The ArmBridge. Why is it a very important aspect, a very important training for internal system? The ArmBridge is part of the family of what they call Zhanzhuang, or Zhongs for short. It's stillness training that is a big part of the practice in the system of internal system. That's a big part of the Chinese culture. In fact, there are many different poses for Zhanzhuang. The very popular one is the tree pose. Very effective, very good, and it promotes stillness. It promotes a lot of the good qualities of what Zhanzhuang, what the practice does. The ArmBridge is also a Zhanzhuang. What makes it unique, what makes it a little bit different than all the other Zhanzhuangs that are more common in the mainstream, is that the ArmBridge, it was designed for you to learn how to deal with tension. It was taught to me by one of my teachers, and he learned it from a monk, a Chinese monk, and I'm not sure where he learned it from. But I'm sure the mindset was to understand softness, to understand song, to understand internal system, then you need to understand tension. To know one side, you have to know the duality of the other side. So when you're doing the ArmBridge, for sure, in that position, your shoulders are going to talk to you very fast. When done correctly at 90 degrees, and you keep the arms up in a slight curvature, your shoulders will absolutely talk with you. Everybody goes through that learns it. And when the shoulder is talking to you, it's a reminder of what tension represents, especially when you're in a stillness position. Now that gives you the opportunity to get close to it and to learn what it is. And when you know what tension is, then you start to develop internal system tools, qualities of how to rectify that tension, which for us, we want to release. We want to be song. So let's go over it. So in the ArmBridge, of course, you're going to have one leg back, one leg forward. The back leg is always 45 degrees, okay, approximately. And the back leg is the yang leg. The front leg is the yin. And your upper body is all yin because you're constantly receiving. You're in an upright position. You're straight, but you're not rigid. As I've said, you're always in a bow-like stance. The bow happens because your Mingmen is constantly expanding when you're standing in any Zhanzhuang, not just the ArmBridge. In the beginning, it's hard to do it because you're not used to your mind guiding the energy. But when you start and you learn, your mind goes to your Mingmen. And before you know it, with regular practice, you start to expand this area. That's what cultivates the bow-like stance. having a curvature. A circle allows for energy to flow. A straight line will only lead to a corner, and we don't want that. We always want a circular pattern so energy can rotate and flow and connect with the earth. And when the arms are held up, you don't want your arms to be rigidly straight. You always want a slight curvature of about 10 to 15%. And when they have, and what they write in the Tai Chi classics, the lower energy and the upper energy, they need to merge, they need to connect. So if you have tension anywhere in the body, the two energies won't connect because you'll be stagnated. Something is clogged, something is tense. We don't want that. In the development and practice of the ArmBridge, we're always learning to be armless, footless, feetless, and waistless. When that happens, that means that all the energies are starting to merge as one. That's what the ArmBridge will do for you. So as I'm standing in the ArmBridge, I'm learning to release all the tensions by opening up all the joints. And once you start to feel what opening up all the joints represent, 界界观观, one joint opens, all joints open. You cannot just open one joint because they're all connected. And once you start to open up the shoulder joints because it's talking to you with the tension developing, then you start to open up the elbow joint, the wrist joint, because you're releasing in all parts of the body. And then your center becomes more comfortable because your mind starts to become 静下来, quieting the mind. And then as a result, the energy starts to flow through your central equilibrium. Everything begins to open. And from what used to be 5 or 10 minutes when you're doing the ArmBridge becomes very uncomfortable, over time becomes more comfortable. From 10 minutes, you go to 15, 20, even up to 30 minutes plus. You're constantly releasing. You're constantly opening. And as a result, you develop the principle and the qualities of what I've been talking about, one continuous energy. Everything keeps moving. If everything keeps moving, what happens to the tension in the shoulders? It starts to dissipate. It starts to have less. And now you can manage what's been very uncomfortable on both shoulders and the neck. Now it starts to flow. And now you start to recognize one continuous energy. And in stillness, you will develop that. You will develop that in the ArmBridge. And what will happen is when you're doing the form, the Tai Chi form, now you're constant, one continuous energy. Everything keeps moving. And we also verify that in the 2-person partner verification drill. Now you keep giving me this incoming force, this energy. Because I have one continuous energy, my pung is constantly expanding. Now, once you touch me, I stick with you. I know how to listen to your energy. We call that ting jing. So you move me one way, I just roll the other way. You move me the right side, I go the other way. Everything is connected. You can hear because they say, 不丢不顶. I don't challenge your energy, but I don't run away from it. If I run away from it, now I don't know where you're coming from. I'm comfortable in sticking with your energy because I'm constantly open. The ArmBridge will teach you that because in the ArmBridge, once it's done right, and that's the direction that we're going in all these classes, you start to develop one continuous energy. Everything continues to flow at all times. That's why in your personal practice, develop 15 minutes, develop 20 minutes. And it's very possible because we have somebody in the group, Rosario. She comes on, from time to time, but we see her usually every Sundays at the meditation walk. She's up to 20 minutes already. And she's been doing it every day for she's probably on her 7th month right now. Because she starts to recognize one continuous energy. And that represents a very essential quality in the internal system training, Nei Gong. Okay, so the arm bridge, single leg stance, low cross stance, they all develop the qualities of one continuous energy. So we'll talk about it again more and more in the future as time passes, because as you progress and want to talk about these things, you're going to connect with it better. That's how the training works. That's how everything starts to develop for you. Okay, so that's on the arm bridge as it pertains to one continuous energy, an important quality and principle in Nei Gong internal system training. So we're open